Well, welcome to another episode of Port Charles Chat. I'm Mom.
And I'm Brandon.
Thank you for joining us again today.
Thank you for joining us as always.
Alrighty, we are talking about the week of January 12th through January 16th. And just so everyone knows, day of taping is on January 18th. We had an exciting week this week, all about Willow again. Alrighty, let's get started. First of all, Kai and Trina. Kai and Trina, of course, are the only two people who really know who shot Drew. And so they have a conversation with Alexis about Willow's actions. They contemplated the week prior to that about who they needed to tell. And so they decided on Alexis. Brandon, was that a good idea for them to do?
I don't think it was the smartest idea, but at least they actually did something for once.
Yeah, they did tell someone, however, in my opinion, they told the wrong person. They should have gone to the 88 Turner and tried to plea a deal with them and then tell what they know. But regardless, they did tell Alexis. Alexis does believe them. She did believe them. And so she, of course, now has a moral. She has a. She has to figure out what to do. And so she does decide that her job is to defend her client, even though she is very aware that Willow did it. She even had a conversation with Diane in regards to everything that went on. And Diane kind of led her down the same path too. So that is what happened with Alexis, Trina, Kai, and Diane. And then we move on to Drew. Drew is just, Drew is Drew. Drew receives information in the mail in regards to the items he took from the Quartermains. And so he is supposed to return these items that he took from the Quartermains. However, Drew just decides to go down and visit the Quartermains himself. And so he takes Martin with him. And then, of all people, Olivia's the one who stands up to Drew. And Drew leaves out, and apparently the items will eventually be returned. Michael meets with Willow, and they begin talking about the kids and whether or not she actually will be able to see the children. And Michael is really referring to the fact that if Willow is sent to jail, he is okay with Willow seeing the children. Willow does ask the question whether or not she would be allowed to see the children if she's free. And Michael does not have a chance to answer that question because Willow does get a phone call that the verdict is in. Now, Valentine decides to go to Windermere, and he tells us to Carly, and but he does go to Windermere, and I guess he wants to look around. But anyway, he's caught by Ava. Ava has some questions for him, but then he disappears. And so Ava does tell Sidwell that Valentine was there. Carly, on the other hand, attempts to check out Brennan's hotel room. Britt happens at the same time that she's there. Britt happens to go and see Brennan. They have a conversation, meaning Britt and Brennan have a conversation. Carly hid in the bathroom, and so she overheard the conversation. However, Carly needed to find a way to get out, and so she acted like she was there to actually see Brennan. Brennan does go in, and he is shocked to see her there. And of course, Carly's able to kind of talk her way out of that situation. After Alexis actually speaks to the jury in regards to Willow, Sonny actually goes to see her afterwards, and Sonny is not happy with Alexis, but they do have a nice long conversation. And he does tell Alexis he does understand why she did what she needed to do. Now, mind you, Sonny does not know that Willow really did it. Actually, he doubts that Willow could do it. He really thinks Michael did it. Jason and Britt decide to go out on a date. And Carly and Josh just happens to be at the same place where they go out on a date. So that just led for interesting conversations. Brad, on the other hand, does not want Jason and Britt to date. And of course, Brad tries to threaten Jason, but that's just kind of funny. Anyway, Gio and Emma move forward with their relationship. And then later on that week, on Friday, last thing on Friday, we find out that Willow is found not guilty. And let's see, and two more things kind of happen. It was a busy week this week. Anna we see Anna again. Anna tries to escape. However, she is not she is not successful. Pascal does kind of doesn't stops her from doing so, and so but anyway, she ends up passing out, and then a nurse does come in to see her later, but Anna thinks that she's visited by Liesel, and she thinks she's hearing the voice of Faison. So they're trying to gaslight her, I guess, and so that's with Anna. And then we are introduced to who we think the boss of Sidwell is, and then the boss of Brennan. And it's the same gentleman, and his name, I believe, is Cullen. And that, I think that is everything that happened this week. Brandon, what did I leave out?
Well, this is a jam-packed week, but yes, I think that was a good majority of it. I will also add that, of course, Chase is being interrogated by Internal Affairs, and Dante now has to reckon with him alongside ADA Turner and practically everyone else.
Yes, busy, busy week. All righty. So let's go to our superlatives. Brandon, performers of the week. For me, there were two people that stood out. One actually happened on Monday, and one was so unexpected for me. You told me not to look at social media, and I did not before I came home from work. And we saw Olivia as she was threatening Drew. That was wonderful. So she is one of my performers of the week. And then Alexis also, because it was nice to see Alexis as she was trying to figure out the best thing to do for her client, but then the best thing to do morally. And so you could see she was torn between what to do. And so Alexis for me is actually one of the performers of the week. All right, Brandon, who do you have?
All right, so before I get into mine, I did want to say that my brother wanted me to say who his performer of the week was.
All right, who did your brother say was the performer of the week?
He said it was Olivia.
Oh wow! And yes, I was there when he watched it again with me because he's on fall break for the yes for fall break for those people who winter break I should say for those people who are wondering. And so he watched General Hospital, and yes, I've got both my boys watching, and and so he was amused by the scene with Olivia also with the Quartermaines.
But yes, but Mom, I'm gonna have to agree with Olivia, and I will agree with your point for Alexis as well, especially seeing her torn. And I think her conversation with Diane really cemented her as an additional performer of the week.
All right, sounds good. All right. And as for amusing scene of the week, I am just going to say it was Olivia because it, like I said, that and Olivia, threatening and defending the Quartermaines because that was the best thing I'd seen. And I think just watching her come down the stairs with her heels on and all dressed up threatening Drew, and the look on Martin's face when he saw her, and he said he was going to leave, and Drew just looked like he didn't believe it, and she said, "Oh, just watch me." Yeah, that was great. All right, Brandon. What about you for amusing scene or scenes of the week?
I agree with you, but I'm going to say my runner-up.
Okay.
My runner-up is Martin mentioning that sort of in passing to Laura, and Laura's like, "What?" It's like, never mind. That's a story for later.
Yeah. Yeah. Martin and Laura have a really good relationship, so I really like that scene too. All right. And as for touching scenes of the week, I went with Emma and Gio because I think it was they're just two cutesy little couples. So I went with them for having touching the scenes of the week. And then also Emma concerned about her mom because her grandma, because she has not seen her in a while. And so I think they're cute. All right, Brandon, did you have any touching scenes of the week?
Well, I definitely will agree with Anna and Geo and Emma talking
Emma.
about
Okay.
Anna. Lots of people with similar syllables, but I will agree with that. But I'm also going to add Liesel and Britt.
Okay. And that is true. They had a nice conversation, and you're very correct about that. And I like that they have bonded together. And then one of the other things, we talk about missing scenes of the week sometimes also. And now that you mentioned Britt and Liesel, I will say I missed the scene where they actually got back together. I know they kind of talked about it briefly, but as much as they were fighting, I would think there should have been a scene in there to kind of show them reconciling. And so I think that's something that and unless I could have missed it, maybe I fast forwarded it at some point, but I think that's something that was missed in general. All right, Brandon, do you have any missing scenes?
Well, I mean, I definitely would agree with that because I thought that was a bit strange, but they did sort of address it within the scene of saying that they really have not spoken since Liesel last showed up, but that Liesel just showed up just to gloat that, my daughter's back, being a doctor. And because Britt was about to be hostile and she was like, nah, I'm too excited. I don't want to let you get me down. And so we're just gonna act cool today.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so, and then I'm adding in something new here, Brandon. I'm adding pivotal scenes of the week. And so for me, one of the pivotal scene of this week was actually Diane and Alexis and their conversation, because that kind of led Alexis to do what she did. And that to me was really pivotal. All right, Brandon, did you have a pivotal scene of the week?
I am going to fast forward a little bit and almost go to Trina and Kai talking to Alexis because towards the end because the reason I say that is because in a sense I feel that this did two different things. It sort of put Alexis on record, at least to Kai and Trina, in the sense of like if Willow gets out and is found not guilty, it's because of you. But in the same regard, for Kai and Trina, of a if Willow is out, it's also on you for not coming over sooner. In the sense of that, truly, our hands are tied because you waited too long, and now you're trying to give justice. So now that Willow, of course, is found not guilty, I'm curious as to how that will play out because now we have Alexis probably having to weigh with her conscience of what do I do, and then Kai and Trina trying to figure out to turn themselves in, which then might also be a whole nother thing.
Yep, true too. All right. I didn't have a fast forward scene of the week. Did you have one?
No,
All righty. And then I also had a different question that I had. And my question was, who will Kai and Trina tell? And so I have a list of a few people who I think, because I think they're going to start blabbing now. I said Curtis is one of the people who I think they will eventually tell. And I said Ava, just because Trina tells Ava just about everything. So those are the two who I think she would tell. I don't think she'll tell Jocelyn because of the conflict there. I really think she might tell Ava. All right, Bren, do you think Kai and Trina will tell other people?
I agree with that. I'm trying to think. I agree they won't tell Jocelyn, but yet I don't rule it out in the picture that they might tell Michael. Though I mean, I'm talking about Kai because now that Drew has seen Kai tried to sort of make up with Michael with their little handshake that Drew was staring at. I don't think that he will be Drew's assistant much longer, especially since, I mean, well, not like Drew's really doing anything for the constituents anyway, outside of blackmailing them all.
Yeah, that's true too. All right. And then I have some welcome backs this week. We're going to welcome back Liesel, welcome back Olivia, and then really we're going to welcome back Diane. Diane has been missed, so welcome back to her. All right, Brandon, did I leave anyone out?
I don't think so. I mean, those were definitely the core group there.
All righty. And then where are you? I will say where are you to Portia, Terry, Isaiah, and Rick. Rick has just disappeared. So, and Rick would be a good person for them to tell this to. But anyway, so where are they to them? And did I leave anyone out?
I'm going to add Brick to it.
Brick. Okay. Yes, we could add him on there too. All right. And I said goodbye. I think I said it last week, but if not, goodbye, at least for now, for Kevin and Ace.
Yeah, I don't think there's anyone else. A part of me says that there's someone I'm forgetting, either as a welcome back or a goodbye from a week or so ago, but I don't know who that would be.
Yes. Well, welcome back to Anna also. Anna's coming and going now, so I'm not quite sure what's going on there, but hopefully it's just storyline dictated. But that's what we have for this week. All right, Brandon, what are you looking forward to seeing for next week?
First of all, I'm trying to figure out how long ago was it that Anna was kidnapped?
I know she's been gone a long time because it was before the holidays. So it has been a long time since Anna's been gone. And only apparently the only one really worried is Emma. I mean, we've had some conversation with Brennan who has asked questions, but overall it's Emma who's really worried about her.
I think Brennan's going to be suspicious now in the sense of that the whole thing of her leaving the family, and that's sort of one thing I want to go back to. That I was right in that a boss. I don't know if he's really the boss, but a boss of Sidwell is also the boss of Brennan.
Yes, you were very right. I, for the record, said Kevin Collins. I'm not saying that Kevin's not involved. But yes, you are correct. You did say that you thought it was going to be one of Brennan's supervisors who was actually in charge of Sidwell or leading Sidwell or something like that.
And one of the reasons as to why I said that is because the cover story is supposedly that Anna's on a WSB mission. And of course, we know that she was kidnapped by one of Sidwell's people, if not Sidwell himself. But I don't think Sidwell has the power to fake her being on a WSB assignment enough where, like, only because of the way Brennan told it to Laura made it sound like she is truly on an actual mission and not like a nefarious purposes sort of thing. But for Brennan to believe that, and he's supposedly the head of the WSB branch, or as Valentine says, in charge of the whole place, then that would mean that he would have to actually believe that, and there has to be some sort of commonality in there.
Yes, and he did look shocked that she was not so much that she was still gone, but that Emma was so concerned, and he said he needed to see a copy of that picture that Emma had.
So yeah, so I'm definitely curious about that, and I'm also curious. Oh, and I looked it up. So Anna was kidnapped on November 5th.
Oh, good gracious, that's a long time.
Yeah, and then in terms of Rick, I'm hoping that they're just not like softly writing him out, and I'm hoping that because Nina did sort of make a plot or deal with Drew, saying that if Will was found guilty, that they'll use her lawyer, and the only lawyer of hers that we know is Rick.
Yeah, yeah, I'm hoping not because I really like Rick, and I think they've done a wonderful job with his character on here, or I should say, improving his character.
Yeah, and I did hear or read that one of his previous disappearances was like helping people out, and then just disappeared for years, and so hopefully he's not gone for the time being.
Yeah, I hope not either. All right, Brandon. Anything else that you're looking forward to for next week?
Oh, and we didn't mention that Laura is now playing a peacemaker between Martin and Tracy.
Yeah, Laura's trying. She's trying to help, trying to help Tracy, and she is trying to help Martin. And so, yes, so I like that she's playing the peacemaker between them. And Martin as a character, you know, I do like him as a character, and Laura's just a good character in general. And then someone's got to help Tracy out. So, so yeah.
Well, I'm also thinking too, because Laura is underneath Sidwell's thumb and doesn't want anyone to know. I feel that if something were to happen, she almost needs Martin and Tracy to work together, and that might be the overall end game because those are some of the only people that are not Sunny that she can trust outside of Kevin that she sent off to Ireland.
Yeah. And that's a very good point, too. Very good point, Brandon. All right. Let's say anything else.
Not to my knowledge, and I will say, maybe this is the thing I meant to bring up a few weeks ago. For the New Year's episode, we did finally get those rolling credits.
Yes, you were looking for those credits. Yes. I'm glad you were able to see them.
Yeah.
All right. All right. And we thank everybody for watching today, and we will see you next time.
Have a wonderful day.
All right. Bye bye, everybody.